So today I'm going to be speaking Ipswich, why they don't seem to be so good this season, why in pre-season I thought that Kieran McKenna was going to get them promoted and make them a comfortable Premier League side. I saw a lot in them that I saw in Sheffield United in the 1920 season or 2021 season. It's a few years ago now, where, got promoted. A lot of it was momentum, but a lot of it was really good football that kept them up quite comfortably. And the league's a lot more competitive now. It's a lot stronger. Teams, you look at a Bournemouth, for example. Look at how much money they've put into the club and how comfortable they look now with a manager like Iraola. So it was never going to be easy for Kieran McKenna to get promoted. Just a quick one on this style of video. Yes, I'm driving. I drive like an hour plus every day for work, commuting there and back. So I just thought, why not freaking record a video whilst I'm doing it? I've got the microphone, I've got a phone, and I enjoy doing the YouTube stuff. So yeah, pop subscribe on the video. It's just a chill one. Play some FIFA whilst you're listening to it. Spend some time with the kids. Do whatever is going on in the background. But Kieran McKenna, a good manager. I really do rate him. He's picked up some decent results so far in the Premier League. They got a 1-1 draw away at Southampton. Against Liverpool on final day, they looked as open as a prostitute, but they still showed their attacking intent, and it wasn't too bad. They've signed some good players. Schmodic scored against Man City, where Man City did absolutely thump them, but they did go 1-0 up periodically in that match. Jack Clarke's been signed. They tried to get Jadon Philogene, went to Aston Villa. Liam Delap. I'm not going to go for every player, but they've got quality, and they've added that quality to their ranks, where they had, Leif Davis already, Wes Burns, the striker George Hurst, Amari Hutchinson signed on a permanent. So it was looking good in the summer. It was looking like they'd gone from a League One team in the Championship on paper, because their team was predominantly from League One, to signing 10 players. Some of them with Premier League experience like Ben Johnson, but the majority of them are just good, solid players. And it looks like they had a Premier League squad, and it's gelling. It's quite clear that Kieran McKenna is going to be playing that 4-2-3-1. Calvin Phillips and Morsey looks to be his preferred midfield duo. Obviously Luongo has been a big part of that, and he can step in and he knows the system, but he is a League One player at the end of the day. And he is, he's 32, 33 now, and his best days are past him. Same with Morsey, you could say, to be fair, but he scored that captain's goal against Southampton last weekend to get the equaliser. So it's a weird one. And I think there is, in another world, we could see Ipswich easily just absolutely, get 3 or 4 wins in a row against some of them more mid-table teams that we see, and end up staying up. And you look at the league, and I think Wolves are a poor team. I think they could go down. I think Southampton. I think Russell Martin's style of football, it's brave. It's good to watch it at times. It's not clinical, and it leaves the defence slightly exposed. And when you've got defenders like Jack Stevens, his name is. It's not great to have such a attacking style of football. And who else is there? I'd have said Forest, but they look to be quite good this season. I said Bournemouth, but with Iraola, I don't think they're at any risk of going down. I think West Ham aren't looking too good, but with how much money they've invested into the squad and how quality their squad is, are they going to be at risk of going down? All it takes is Lopetegui to get sacked, and then a more competent manager come in and does well, or they get Moyes back again. So it feels like if they stay up this season, then this could potentially be the hardest season that they're going to have to stay up, because it's a very, very solid Premier League season. Last season we had Burnley, Luton, Sheffield United all get relegated, all looking very poor, all back in the Championship now, not looking anything better than a Championship club. It says a lot when Sheffield United are the best team of the relegated bunch, and they had a -2 points deduction. They've not spent much money. Chris Wilder's a very good manager, but Burnley, they've lost most of their squad, or a vast majority, and now you look at their team with Joe Worrell at centre back, and that looks pretty Championship FC. And then who else is there? There's the other relegated side, who escapes me, Luton, who's they've got Liam Walsh and Baptiste in centre mid, who are both barely even championship quality midfielders, and they're doing okay. I don't think Luton are at any risk of not finishing even in the top half with Rob Edwards at the helm. But you get what I'm saying. Compared to Leicester, Southampton, and Ipswich, it's completely different. And I'd be happy to make a video at some point speaking up on the Championship. I'm a massive fan of the Championship. I'm a Sheffield United fan, which is lucky for me because I get to see the Championship a lot. And Ipswich fans, they saw the Championship a lot because obviously they were in it for about 17 years until Mick McCarthy left, and then they brung in that young-ish manager, Paul Hurst, and he sent them down, and they had Lambert in charge in that season, and they ended up going down, and then they rebuilt. The owners made some good appointments, and 2 seasons later in the Premier League, and they're way ahead of schedule. Let's be honest, they're way ahead of schedule. I remember listening to the Not the Top 20 podcast 2 years ago, when Kieran McKenna was first appointed, maybe a little bit longer or shorter ago. But yeah, I remember listening to it, and Kieran McKenna was first promoted, and it was overwhelmingly positive. They were saying, it's made them really tight defensively, although it doesn't look like they're very good attackingly. We see it a lot. The best managers in football get the defence sorted out and then go into the attack. You can even look at it at the moment with Chris Wilder again with Sheffield United after such a bad season last year. 4 of the back 5, including the goalkeeper, are different. Defence first attitude, and the defence first attitude doesn't always have to be on the back foot. Kieran McKenna is a perfect example of this. A lot of his best football with Ipswich has come in the Championship, where they'd play a side like Leeds, a side like Southampton, and to be counter-attacking football. They'd soak up the pressure with some very good defenders that they've got. Davis at full-back with Harry Clark, and then they've got Tuanzebe, they've got Burgess, they've got Edmondson, Wolfenden as well. So they've got such good quality in that defence. Then when you've got tactical instructions from Kieran McKenna, which are so detailed, and they clearly practice it a lot in training to get the likes of Wes Burns scoring a Trevella from 20 yards out like he did last season, or to get Amari Hutchinson scoring more than 10 goals in a season, or to get George Hurst or Kiefer Moore last season getting a good goals return. It's good to see. It is really good to see. And I'll be honest, I forgot what point I was even making then. It's like I'm doing a one-person podcast, so I'm having to co-host with myself. I'm just on my way to the gym now, so I just thought, to get me hyped up, why not speak about Kieran McKenna's Ipswich? Yeah. But I've not even mentioned Leicester in this video either. They're another relegated, potentially relegation fodder side. Steve Cooper, I reckon that he's a good manager. Look at how well he did at Forest. He kept Forest up, and they signed about 40 million players. Got rid of most of their team because a lot of them were on loan from the season that they got promoted. They shouldn't have even got promoted with that team on paper. Zinkernagel at Cam, where's he now? Davis up front. What's his name? Davis. I forgot his name, but Davis up front. He's been awful since that season. Keenan Davis. He's been awful since that season that he had at Forest, where he got them promoted. And Steve Cooper stabilised the ship. If I remember right, during the winter break during the World Cup, him and the analysts, they had a look into things, and they realised that Forest were getting pressed the most in the Premier League. So they thought, well, if you're getting pressed a lot, try and bypass the press. Their way of bypassing the press was being a little bit more direct and passing it long, not going long ball. Cause I feel like going long ball and passing it long is a different thing, because a lot of teams will just hoof it clear with no intent, but their intent was very clear. They had a Winye or Wimye, I don't know how to say his name, up front, and had maybe Chris Wood at that point as well. I feel like he's been there longer than we realise, and get it up to the players who can win it, get it to the creativity players like Gibbs White, and I think they had Lingard that season, and spring from there. And I don't know how this ended up becoming a Forest chat, but that's basically, I'm saying that Steve Cooper could keep Leicester up fine. That's basically the reason why I'm going on about his Forest side. But Kieran McKenna, in every part of his management, has exceeded so far. He was part of Jose Mourinho's first team coaching system at Manchester United. I think he was the first team coach. And then I don't know whether he was with Solskjaer as well, and I don't think he wouldn't have been with Ten Hag. But then he's gone to Ipswich. He thought, well, they're an underperforming League One side. Let's make a playoff push in my first season. I've got a few months to do it. He did a playoff push, and unfortunately they missed out. Then he thought, well, I've got a decent team to get promoted. They got promoted. And then he thought, well, the Championship isn't looking, awful this season. You've got Leicester, you've got Southampton, you've got Leeds, but we could easily be the fourth best side in that. They got second. And on paper, coming up to the Premier League this season, by far the worst team on paper. By far the worst. Luongo and Morsey is a central defensive midfield duo. Sounds shocking if you said that to me 2 or 3 seasons ago. Both of them were Middlesbrough rejects, and they're stuck in the Championship. And then they get promoted. And recruitment has been key. I feel like the recruitment's been great. They've got match winners with Jack Clark and Maury Hutchinson and Schmodix and Delap and Hurst, and I'm probably missing out on another key attacker that they signed. They've got players with Premier League pedigree now with Calvin Phillips and Ben Johnson. I know that I've touched on this Premier League pedigree earlier, but I feel like you can't understate it. I know that teams stay up without Premier League pedigree. Bournemouth did it, Sheffield United did it, but they've added it, and it's players like Calvin Phillips who went to Manchester City for around 50 million. 4 or 5 seasons later, he's probably still got it in him. A manager like Kieran McKenna will want to get it out of him. I've got a bit of concern about the match that they had against Southampton then, because Southampton are rumoured to be wanted to potentially sack Russell Martin, and they absolutely dominated Ipswich, and it was a home performance. But you want to sack your manager after dominating a Premier League side? That caused a question how good Ipswich are in my head. And Kieran McKenna's a man who's got his philosophy. He wants to play attacking football without having much of the ball, if that makes sense. He's comfortable with his players not having the ball, but when they have a ball, they need to use it. And are they using it enough? Potentially not. They play a 3-2-5 build-up shape like most of the teams do these days. This season it's largely been Tuanzebe at right back or tuck in with the 2 centre-backs. Leif Davis will push on to be part of that front 5. Calvin Phillips and Morsey, or I think Luongo has been a part of that CDM, will be the 2. And then your front 5 will be your 3-1 in a 4-2-3-1 alongside Leif Davis on the left. And obviously there's nuances to it. You can't be telling me that Man City's 3-2-5 is the same as Liverpool's, is the same as Arsenal's, and the same as Ipswich's. It's not. They all have their different nuances, way of playing it. Ipswich will look to potentially get the right back, Tuanzebe, pushing forward. If the opportunity awaits itself, then that goes like a 2-2-6 or 2-3-5. I've not got the tactics board on me, unfortunately. I'm in my car, so I can't really go through it with you. I'm not like Tifo, unfortunately, but it's been 13 minutes of me waffling now, and do I think Ipswich are going to go down? I think that they might. The league's quality scares me a bit. I think them, Southampton and Wolves are going to go down at this point. I don't think Leicester are going to be comfortable, but I think they're going to stay up. I don't think West Ham are going to be comfortable. But look at their bloody team and tell me that they're not, potentially top 12 in the division. But they're not doing great, but I think they'll stay up. I think Forest will stay up. Nuno is criminally underrated. I'm from the Nottinghamshire area, and I've got a few Nottingham Forest mates, and they try and tell me that Nuno is still not convinced by him. Why? Just why? I know that it's not the most entertaining style of football, but you've got players like Hudson-Odoi, Elanga, Gibbs-White and Chris Wood. That's their front 4, obviously. And then, defensive shield behind them, and the way that they counter-attack, it's really exciting to watch. And yeah, large parts of the game is soaking up pressure, maybe having a bit of a scrap, but when it's good for us, it's very good, and I reckon they're going to stay up. I'm probably missing out on another team that's pony, but they're not in my head right now. 40 minutes 43, excellent. 15-minute video. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed this little style, let me know. It's not going to go anywhere. It might do. We'll see. If nobody enjoys it, then I'll just watch it myself. But Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and tell me down in the comments what I should chat about next time. I just came up with this one off the top of my head, but yeah, Arsenal are doing well, Man City are doing well, Manchester United, you know. Let me know. Thanks for watching.